This tune starts with some choral harmonies, 3 voices to be exact. This first chord's a stretcher, but I find that a lot of you students who use your thumb up high, if you will move it to the middle of the back of the neck, you may find these stretches to be a lot easier. Sometimes even move it farther below. During this rundown, the first finger is going to stay on the first string. That's more or less your guide finger. And then we go on. You can slide back up. Here's your common finger over here. And then with your pinky, just reach up to the E and move into position, 5th position. Here it is up to speed. I choose these harmonies based on 2 things. The first thing is to get a CD and listen to it, work it out by ear. The second thing is to get the published sheet music and compare the notes, what I'm hearing, to what's written down. If everything is the same, then that's perfect. If not, then I will decipher it one voice at a time. Usually I start by getting the main melody. There's usually one line that sticks out. Once I've learned that one line, then I start to add the second line. Usually it's in harmony in the key signature. So if it goes in parallel, then I just use the parallel intervals. The third voice is usually the same way. If it's in the key signature, I will add that and just do triads and move them accordingly. With our 4th finger reaching over here, allowing us to put ourselves in position for the next few chords. First finger being pretty much the sliding finger in all these. Notice that I had 2 sliding fingers. Sliding again. Here's some dissonance, half-step dissonance, only found by using the harmonic here on the 19th fret along with a natural note plucked. I'm plucking that with the thumb and just touching that point with the first finger. Quiet first time, a little bit brighter second time. An alternative to this fingering would be the way I just played it for you, which was like this. Either fingering will work just fine. Very easy. You got your bass note, you got your piano part, and the high piano parts are imitated by the harmonics, plucked with the A finger and the first finger, an octave higher than what's physically down here. Melody. The bass note is basically hitting 1 note per measure, and your melody line is falling within the chords, and then the piano parts are all within the chords also. Notice that I'm using a sliding finger for this one section. Third finger will slide it to allow you to get to that note a lot easier. And then we're going to notice how my pinky is getting ready to prepare itself for this chord. We're having a complete change. anytime we have that complete change, we just prepare. Do that again. Now listen to the bass line. It's descending chromatically. With the piano parts. And I'm doubling these up just to give you the... Ideally, if I could go from F sharp to E to a D that was lower, that's what I would want. So I'm imitating that by doing it an octave higher at the same time. Instead of going to this B, we have to go to this B because we have our harmonics coming. Chromatic descension in the bass notes. Just a chromatic descension here, starting with the G chord. And right here at the D chord, we're going to keep that D note consistent throughout. And then on to the second verse. A lot of the same thing. Just different words. Bit of expression there instead of square like before. Right here I'm having to put a melody line that goes from B to C sharp, and I'm also having to keep the harmonics, so it's just a matter of putting them in at the same time. So I'm plucking the melody line with my thumb, and I'm still plucking the harmonics with the two fingers. Again. A little bit louder the second time. Backing vocal here. Any way the wind blows. Now, moving on to the lead guitar solo, we're going to increase a little bit of intensity here. I had an option of doing one or two things. What I originally did was move the melody line an octave lower, because there was a nice bass part that descends there, and that allowed me to put the two together and then incorporate the line. The alternative to the run is to do an octave higher, which I've done in concert for many years, which would go like this. And then we bring it down by reaching over. A little bit faster would sound like this. Something like that would be an alternative if you dared. Here's the simplified version once again. Just to pull off, once you have an open string that allows you to move into different strings, same thing, bass note plays on the first of every major lick. And now number 3. So together we have. From here we're going on to the next part of the lead guitar solo. Now you notice that we're starting on the D chord, and I'm simply doing a scale starting on a D scale starting on A. And by the time I hit this A note right here, we're going into the A over C sharp chord. And then keeping these 2 fingers down, and then doing the same lick. And going into the B minor chord. Let's try that again. From here we're going to do which basically I'm imitating the guitar part, doing his lower register notes. And that's parallel motion. Instead of playing the B open, we're going to hit this note over here. So together we have probably one of the hardest parts in the whole song. And then an octave higher up to the E minor. I'm going to use my 3rd finger to land on that E right there because I'm going to do some chromatic dissensions in the bass. With ascending melody notes. Again. And then we're going to jump up to the C sharp with the E in the bass and down to the C chord. There's some more dissension of the bass notes. And then here we go into the A open string with that C note down, and we're going to do a little trill here to the G sharp chord. Let's do that one more time. This little lick is into the G chord. Now here we happen to be incorporating the piano part with Freddie's vocal line, which happens to be on the 3rd string. And around it are the harmonies that make it work. And now we're incorporating the big chords along with the choir singing. Notice that I'm going from basically a C over G with the means of the pinky to a G7, F sharp, to a D sharp, to a G sharp. Now, the most notorious part of the whole song. Use all 4 fingers for 4 different notes. And now parallel harmony right here. Sometimes I use different pairs of these 2 fingers along with the 1st finger, and sometimes I just slide the 1st finger. It's a little bit more dangerous but more showy. And then we're going into our harmonies. Just a bunch of harmonics. Now choir. A lot of common fingering there and sliding fingering. Big chords. That's the simple version. On preparing for this video, I listened to the Queen recording once again, and upon doing so, I discovered that I left out some descending bass notes. A little passage that starts like this, with the bass note starting right there. Basically what you're hearing in the bass notes are... And you'll notice that, how could I have left that out in the first place? But always go back and listen to your arrangements, because there's always a chance that you may have forgotten something that really sticks out that would add a lot to it. So keep an open mind when you arrange your own pieces. Here it is one more time. Here's the piano part straight from the Queen recording, just like I showed it to you a minute ago. And on to the section of Easy Come, Easy Go. Notice how I'm using the slide to imitate exactly what I'm hearing on the recording. And given the big chord, We Will Not Let You Go. Once again, the first finger is staying on 3 strings throughout this lick. Pretty much just 2 positions. And then we slide up here, keep the first finger down. It's very important that you keep that first finger down throughout that whole section. We're going to slide our first finger up to the 7th fret, the 2 middle strings, so we can enter the next 4 voices. There's your 4 voices overlapping. Make sure you sustain them and jump into the chords. All basically tied together with bar chords. And then these 2 are exactly the same. So you keep the same form. Just put you into that position of 9, or 7 I should say. And then Mamma Mia needs to be real strong with your thumb. Okay, and then you have this form right here that will fall in place with the help of your fingers being common, sliding down together. I'll get you through that one. Come on. Those 2 chords being in the same bar chord, so it should be no problem. Except for the stretch right here, that's where you're going to have to work. Now the alternative to this is the Edgar Cruz version, where I used my thumb as a big G chord. Let's see here. Very dangerous, but what I'm doing is instead of playing that G like that, I'm sticking down there and giving you a low bass note, touching the G and muting the 5th string and strumming the rest. Just a big G chord. Like I said, just be very wary about doing that. And then A7. With a lot of increase in dynamics. Basically all I'm doing, I'm strumming and then plucking M-I on my return. Slide down to the 2nd position, the bar D chord, which is the beginning of the rock and roll part. And you're hearing the guitar part very clearly. Bass is simply keeping this going consistent, and you're having triplets over that. So basically, real consistent bass notes, very simple. But the 3 over the 2 is what is what you have to keep consistent in the top voices. For every 2 bass notes, you have 3 vocal notes. Triplets, lead guitar part. Give it some rock and roll. putting that vocal line in there and with the chords. And to imitate his crescendo of a voice right here, I decided to repeat the notes. To make it more enhanced, you'd want to start it as quiet as you can get and get it as loud as you can get. Now here's your guitar parts or your bass lines. Bass parts. Into the unison parts, bass and guitar. And then on to sixth position. All we're doing is playing an E flat major scale with a B flat in the bass, and you're just barring that sixth fret. Notice you keep that bass ringing as long as you can. Same for the other parts. Just another scale over a sustaining bass notes. Your first finger landed on A, and that's where you're going to continue. Pinky down there on the A of the sixth string with an A open. Nice little bass, descending bass line, and based off an A chord, with your melody trilling off of the D to the, trilling from the F sharp to the G. So let's try it again. So you notice the whole trick to doing that is to keep that second finger right on the second fret. Let's try again. First finger is going to turn into a bar. Your third finger is going to slide up, and we're just going to start the next part. Let's try it again. F sharp 7, and your harmonies are in sixth. Then we add the harmonics to simulate Brian May's guitar part. In order to do this, I have to play a double harmonic. Now I'm going to be plucking it with the middle and A finger on the second and third string, and I'm going to be touching the 12th fret on the second and third string, and plucking with the bass note, the thumb. There's your harmonic, 3 notes, arpeggio, and then if you apply a hammer-on hard enough, you can get that sound that would normally be the 2 different harmonics, but just by hammering on, you'll be able to get the same effect. And on into the rest of the piece. Soft piano parts there. You'll notice that the melody is using an open string while sustaining the rest of the fingers. G minor chord, and then the open strings. Take your time. This little passage here I find easier if let's start from the beginning here. If I I stick a bar down here right before the next chord, this little chord is a lot easier with this finger down. Don't ask me why, but it works for me. And then you just slide those fingers down. B7. And then we're going to imitate that electric guitar sliding, so you have to get a nice pluck on the second string. And then slide, same for the third string. And then into the E chord. Ending chords. Very gentle. F#7 to E. Nice strum with the pad of your thumb to imitate the gong. There you have the Bohemian Rhapsody. We're going to take a real detour now and pull out the steel string guitar. I am not normally a steel string player, but when it came to learning Crazy Little Thing Called Love, I knew that it would work best for this song. I'll never forget seeing Freddie Mercury play the steel string on this on Saturday Night Live. That was one of the reasons why I was inspired to learn this arrangement. A couple other reasons is it gave me an opportunity to use the pickguard for claps, and later on in the song you'll be hearing me do the clapping on the tap plates, which most steel string guitars have anyway, and most classical guitars don't. Here we go.